Hello, my lovely edge dwellers. It's Lucca Hallex, and I'm doing Lucca Hallex. I'm doing Ask Lucca Live. I'm trying to get the name of the website, which is Power Sorcerer, out at the same time as I'm trying to say what I'm doing today. So this is Ask Lucca Live, and we'll be starting up in about 2 minutes. So I just came on a few minutes early to welcome everybody who's arriving. So I always like to leave a few minutes for everyone to arrive. So there's Flora. Nice to see you, Flora. Nice to see you, Chantal. And I have everybody's questions here. So it's Flora, you always have to identify yourself. How come you've got Fiona on there? It's a very interesting thing. It's like you have a double personality. Split. That's the word we want to use for it. Split personality. Hi, Iris. Nice to see you. Hi, Camellia. Avoiding high school people. That's why you've got a different name. Okay, I got it. I can work with that. I know who you are now. Hello, Iris. So I think we've got 7 questions today. So that's just like the perfect number for half an hour. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sort of seeing a theme. There's been a theme over the course of the week this week. So I've been talking to people. And when I talk to people, we compare notes. Hello to everybody. So yeah, just 1 more minute, and then we'll go ahead and get the show on the road here. It's Hi, Maureen. Nice to see you. I say see you, but all I can see is words. It's different when I'm on Zoom. When I'm on Zoom, I can see everybody's face. Live faces on top of that, which is kind of nice. So, yeah. Hi, Maureen. Nice to see you. The other Maureen. There's 2 Maureens on here now. Is there? No. One Maureen. So this is all great. Hi, Carolina. I should. There's a little thing on here that says I can wave at you. I'm not quite sure what that does. I think if I talk to you, it's better. Okay, so let's get started with the introductions. I have included in the Ask Lucca Live group, there's a little list of things to keep in mind as I'm doing this. So if you haven't read it already, it's a good idea to have a look at it. So I always say that off the top. I believe that when we set our intention, hello to Parksville, Carolina. Once we set our intention, everything else follows. So I think it's really important to set intention. So my intention as I'm doing these sessions is to answer the asked and the intended questions. And I always say intended because our higher self always knows what we need to know, even if we haven't quite figured out, hi Judy, how to put the words around them yet. And a lot of people say, this is the closest I seem to be able to get to what I'm looking for, but it's not exactly right. Well, trust that what comes through is going to be what's exactly right. Hi, Chris. So my intention is to answer the asked and intended questions and to receive answers that are soulfully helpful to all participants, including those who will listen later. So some of the questions that I have on my list today are for people who aren't going to be with us, but will watch this after the fact. So just know for next time that if you can't make it, because I'm going to continue doing these on Saturdays for the foreseeable future, if you can't make it, then just send me your question anyway, and when you listen to the recording afterwards, you'll get your answer. So as I mentioned before, the things to keep in mind are posted and pinned to the top of my Ask Lucca Live group, so you can have a look at them. So I remind everybody every time that your gut feel about what's right for you is more important than anything anybody can say to you, and that includes me, because we're all reading through our own biases and our own energy fields and our own good days and bad days and all of that. And sometimes I get information that is symbolic in nature or metaphorical, and I don't actually know what it means, and you might not know what it means at the time either. So it may be that a little further down the road you figure it out. So if something doesn't make sense, rather than taking it in when your gut is telling you it's not right or you don't really understand it yet, I suggest that you put it in a holding tank. And one person used to call it the waiting room. So hi, Crystal. We don't have to take everything in immediately somebody says it to us. So that's important for you to remember. Anything I tell you about the future is a probability only. And it's based on the idea that however you've been doing things up until now, you're likely to continue doing them that way for the foreseeable future. And having said that, everybody has free will, so you can alter things. And whether you are going to be able to alter them has to do with how much impetus you have for making that change. It's harder to change things that are the things that you elected, hi Molly, to do with your life in general. If it's part of your life's purpose, it's going to be harder for you to change it, but not impossible. And if you think about all the other people who influence your life, they also have free will, and they also have people in their lives who are using their free will to influence that person. So you can just imagine the chain reaction that happens. So all of that comes in if I tell you anything that's about the future. So I talked to you about the holding tank. I will come back at the end of the broadcast. I'm calling it a broadcast. And I'll let you know about all the services that I offer. So I won't take up time doing that right now. But if anybody's interested, hi Janice, then feel free to stick around for a moment or two at the end, and I'll mention all the ways that you can get in touch with me and what I've got on offer at the moment. So I have a few points to bring up at the beginning today. I've been sitting with these things all week, and a lot of people have been expressing to me that they're feeling hopeless, that they despair sometimes that we'll be able to individually and collectively make the changes on this planet that are needed in order to keep this as a planet that we actually want to live on. Because if things progress the way they're looking like they're going to progress right now, then it does feel hopeless. And a lot of people have been saying to me that they've been trying to talk to their friends and colleagues and neighbors and local MPs and whoever it is that has some influence in their lives, and they can't seem to be able to break through. That people, one person said to me yesterday, hi Teddy, one person said to me yesterday that she suggested a couple of books for a friend of hers to read, and her friend wouldn't read them. And she said, I don't know what to do if they're not even willing to entertain the idea of changing. If they can't shift even as much as to believe that maybe there's information they don't know yet, then what can we do with them? And do I want to be still living in a place that's like that, where that is what happens? So here's what my guides said to me about it. They said, keep the faith and keep taking the next step. Trust that the next step will always be there, and the right person to help you perceive it will always also be there. Do what you can, when you can, to the best of your ability, and trust that everyone else will be doing the same thing. So I believe that we all have guides and helpers, and that's one of the places I'm tuning in to get information that will be helpful to us. And so if we all have guides and helpers, then we all have the support that we need in order to make changes that may feel life-threatening to us. And we know that things have to change on an ideological level as well as in the world of actions. And some people change their ideas by changing how they behave, and some people change how they behave by changing how they see the world. So we have to trust that everybody's going to do it in their own way, and that by seeing people and by listening to them, just listening to them, we don't have to fight them even, but just to listen to them is already giving them it's like fertile soil for people to be able to change. That doesn't mean that we have to agree with them. It doesn't mean that we even have to accept what they're saying, just to give them the space to say it. Because I know that a lot of people change what they believe by hearing themselves. And one day they'll hear themselves tell the same old story, and they'll look at themselves and think, oh my God, I don't know that that's true anymore. I don't know if it was ever true. It's the aha moment. So for people to have those aha moments, they have to be able to speak, and they need to be able to speak in a safe place, which doesn't mean put yourself in danger. Don't want to do that. And it doesn't mean saying, yes, I agree with you. We don't need to agree, just to hold space. And that's not right for everybody either. So listen to your own gut feel about what's right for you. So I think I've told you what we need to go with to start off. I'm going to be looking out the window and closing my eyes momentarily, because that's how I access the packets of information to bring it through for you. You'll also notice me doing this, the nod and the head shake. And my body acts like a pendulum. So when I'm asking internal questions for clarification, I get yeses and nos, and that's how they come through. Also, sometimes if you ask me a question, I may get a yes or a no before my brain's even had a chance to process it. So you'll see that as well. So let's get started with the first question that's on our list. And this is one that, this one's from Iris in the Yukon. And Iris said, I have recently accepted a new 2-year assignment with the Yukon government. I was supposed to enter the final semester of my degree, because it's in progress, for my degree in September, but I'm instead taking a break from school to pursue this job. The pay is great, the team is great, but I can't stop thinking about finishing my degree. I feel like I should be excited about this job, as I'm learning lots here too. Could you see if you pick up anything around this? There's lots of choices to be made right now, and they're not necessarily easy ones. So we have to trust that all roads lead to Rome. And sometimes I think the easiest way to make a decision, hi AJ, when we're grappling with a decision like this, is to make it one way or the other and then see if we can live with it. And there's a sort of a prevailing belief system out there that if you change your mind, that you're flaky. And I don't think, if you keep changing your mind, maybe you'll be a little bit flaky. But I think that if you make a decision and then you try to live with it and it feels absolutely awful, that's your intuition talking to you and telling you that it's not working and you need to change it and make a different decision. So having said that, Iris, let me just check in with your higher self and see what I can get here about things that you want to keep in mind. Okay, so I've got the energy around this. Should you go back to school? No. I believe that you can finish part-time. And there are some things coming up in the job that you've taken on that will change things in terms of what's possible and what you can expect. And those things haven't shown up yet, so you couldn't have taken them into consideration when you were considering this job. I believe that the changes are going to come about. What they're saying to me is September. So whether they'll come through in time for you to decide if you want to go back to school or not, I don't know. But I know that you're in the right place right now. So stay there through the summer and then see what information, what new information, what changes come about as we head into September. I think you'll, if school is in the cards and you need to go back to school, I believe that you will be able to do that at the last minute. So, and you can also play it by ear. So the short answer is you're in the right place at the moment. The longer answer is you don't have all the information yet, which is what's making you feel like you're going. It's the push me pull you from Dr. Dolittle, right? You don't know which direction you're going in. So right now you've made the right decision. and revisit it again at sort of mid to end of August if you have information, and if you don't, you may have to wait into September. So that's for you, Iris. I hope that makes you feel a little bit better about this the stranglehold that decisions can have on us when we're not exactly sure what we're doing. Okay, question number 2 is from Lorna. Lorna says, I have a business question, wondering if there's a new product I should be adding to my gemstone jewelry line, or just continue, there's a typo in there, or just continue doing what I'm doing. Business is slow online, and I'm wondering if I should shut down and try something else. My sense is that you shouldn't be trying something else, Lorna. What I do have a feeling about is, and I don't know if you're doing this already because I don't go into anybody's background before I start doing a reading. My sense is that there's an energy component to the jewelry that you're making, and that sometimes somebody asks for a piece of jewelry and you create it for them. Sometimes you create a piece of jewelry and you have no idea why, and the right person comes along. But every piece of jewelry you create, you want to imbue it. You want it to be a meditative process. So I don't know if this may be that it already is for you. But you want it to be a meditative process, and you want to fold into what you're making and into the stones and into metal if you're working with the metal. Fold in intention and energy. And sometimes a piece will take you days or weeks to make. And that's because the energy has to go in over that period of time. So when you're marketing yourself, you should be marketing yourself as someone who is crafting jewelry for people, as opposed to crafting jewelry that people buy. So emphasize to people that they may look at what you have to offer, and a piece may speak to them. So Henrietta is saying intention and energy infused. Absolutely. But also people need to know that that's what you do, so that, because Camellia does this as well. People may come to you and say, this is what I want. And Camellia often talks about the fact that she's making a piece and she can feel energy going into it, but she doesn't know necessarily who it's going to go to yet. So they're encouraging you to do that. So don't shift out of what you're doing, but do it very intentionally, and make sure people know that that's how you're doing it, and collect testimonials from people about how they feel wearing your jewelry, because this is right now there's a great need for jewelry that has feeling. So this ring that I'm wearing right now belonged to my grandmother, and I've been getting messages from multiple sources saying that I have to wear it when I do this on Saturdays, because that dead grandmother is with me. It's over my shoulder, helping me to do this work. So there's a lot of energy around jewelry, and it's when I first learned to do this work, I was reading from the energy that is around objects. They call it psychometry. And I when I was first learning it, I was out for dinner one night with my brother and all his friends, and he told them what I could do. And I was sitting there in a Greek restaurant, and I had this paper placemat in front of me, and it was stacked high with people's watches and wedding rings and all this stuff. I was joking that I could just pick it up and run because I had all this loot, but I don't know if I could have taken all of that energy with me. It wouldn't, because it's just too much, right? So I have to be very careful if I buy jewelry that's estate jewelry or previously owned, that I'm not picking up all the energy around it. So that might be something that you guys all need to know as well. There might be pieces of jewelry that you need to clear, and you can do that by soap and water. You can do it by putting them in salt water if that's not going to harm the jewelry. You can put them in moonlight or in sunlight, and that will also clear the jewelry. So we create a little energy lesson here about jewelry. So I hope that helps, Lorna. Third person today is Tracy in New Zealand. And Tracy says, over the years, I sporadically have an ex-boyfriend appear in my dreams. And she says this has been happening for 30 plus years. So this is long-standing. It's usually around his domination, control, meanness over me. I've been working on clearing past lifetime fear successfully and had a dream where I stood up to him and all as well. But a week or so later, it's back to the bad dream again. This time with his now wife, who he referred to as his ex. They're both bullying me. So what does this represent, and how can I clear this old karmic energy once and for all? So the first thing I should say about dreams is that dreams do different things for different people. And it's like the dreams are a platform, a playground for us to work on things that are in our subconscious awareness more than they are in our conscious awareness. So I know some people who have dreams that are prophetic. My mother does. My dreams tend not to be prophetic, although I do consider possible avenues that might be open to me in the coming time frame, but that I don't even know are there yet, but I consider them ahead of time so that when they do show up, they show up as deja vu. It feels like deja vu. Some people have dreams. Most of my dreams are showing me additional information about what's unfolding for me in my life right now. So it's like getting a little insight into what's really happening, and that's quite useful. If I dream about other people, and that's where I'm coming to for this one, Tracy. If I dream about other people, it's often because they represent something to me, and it may not be what they really are in my real life. They may be the closest representational people for something that I'm grappling with. So that there may be an element of that here. There's also, some people are so powerful energetically that they can invade our dreams. And if there's an element of that here, Tracy, then you need to do some energy protection before you go to sleep at night, and look at intentionally setting a boundary in your bedroom or wherever it is that you sleep, so that, hi Lisa, so that you're, imagine an egg. I talk about an egg the size of a phone booth, for those of you who still remember phone booths. That's your sort of your private energy field, but you can also create one like that is large enough to encompass a space. So you want to take it down underneath the floor and up above the roof of the room, the ceiling of the room. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Lisa. So you're, and then you want to program the inside of it so that you're setting your intention that only love and light will come in and only love and light will go out as you sleep at night. So give that a whirl and see if that helps. So you've got a few things to consider. One is, what might these people be representing for you in your life, and what's going on in your life at the time that you have the dream about him and or the dream about him and his now wife. And then the other thing is protect your space. And make sure that if there's any negative energy coming in from him or anybody else, that it isn't coming into your unprotected energy field at night. So you just want to beef it up with your intention. You know, line it with bronze or gold or silver or gems or whatever it is that feels right for you, so that you protect your sphere, if you like. So I hope that's helpful. If you want anything more about completely unfolding dream sequences, then we need to do that in a session, because it takes more time than we have available, and it's a lot of question and answer, which we can't do right now because you're, as far as I have seen, you're not in the group right now, and we don't have time for it. So I think that's what I can give you for you to get started with this. Question number 4 from Margot. How does Paul feel about me, and what's going to happen with us? They're shaking their head. It's too soon. Not all the pieces, not all the information is on the table yet. Paul has good intentions. He's trying to make some big changes in his life, and it remains to be seen whether he'll be able to make those changes. So this is hard for him. It's challenging. And you need him to be able to make those changes for the two of you to be able to go ahead in solidarity and partnership. So that's what's going on in that relationship right now. I think it's important for you to hold the vision of him being successful with this, not because you can influence him in terms of what he chooses to do, but because it sets a vibration that is a higher vibration than the vibration of, oh my God, what happens if he can't do it? So if you imagine him doing it, that will add to his own momentum and his own support systems in terms of him being able to manifest the insights. Because I think it's an insight that he needs to get. And it's not an insight about you. It's an insight about himself and about his past in this lifetime. And there's one little tendril that goes out into another lifetime for him. But he can work it from just this one without going into that other lifetime. If he gets stuck here, then he may need to go into that other lifetime to have a look at it. So I hope that is helpful. Margot, my fingers crossed. Monica wants to know, she wants some insight into her current relationship. So I was getting information about this even before we started the session, Monica. And that is that we keep asking the question about whether this is the right person until it's the right person. So really, if we're asking if it's the right person, then it probably isn't the right person. And this is where I take you back to that benchmark yes, no. Think of a situation that has, you can see in hindsight now when you look back on it, it was absolutely right. And not think about it because it's not up here, it's in here, right? Feel what that felt like to you. That's your benchmark for a yes. And then think about a situation that in hindsight you now know, even if you didn't know it at the time, was a definite no. And then register that as a benchmark inside you for what a no feels like. Now, the person you're in relationship with right now, Monica, is not a no. But neither is he a really clear yes. So what that tells me is that you're learning things with him and he's learning things with you. That for this time, it's fine. But is he the one that you're waiting for? No. And I'm not, I don't even need to intuit that to give it to you. It's, if you're wondering, it's not right. So that I'm putting that one in there today for you, for everybody, because you all need to know that. And I need to be reminded that we all need to be reminded of what a clear yes and a clear no feels like. And if you're not getting a clear yes or no, it's either the wrong question or it's the wrong time to ask that question, or the answer would be misleading if we went with it now, or it's a can't remember what the fourth one was, but we'll go with 3 for now. So, because I'm going to move on because we've got 5 more minutes left and I want to be able to get to everybody. So Deanne wants to know, how can I free myself from old wounds and pain that are resurfacing? These old beliefs like I'm not important or I'm not enough seem ridiculous, but it's clear that they're holding me back. I feel caught and stuck by these old ideas. This is a really important question today, Deanne, because I think the answer is important for everybody. First of all, not all of the feeling is yours because the planet is going through this right now. So you want to do the 2 baskets and 10 tennis balls exercise. And if anybody else needs to know about that, let me know. And I can send you a little write-up that I have about it. So you want to know how much of this is yours. What I'm getting off the top of my head is that only 3 of the 10 tennis balls of this feeling right now are yours. So, and we're all in this place, right? We're all revisiting old stuff. In fact, astrologically right now, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Robin, you're asking, what is that? The 2 baskets and 10 tennis balls? just fire me off a message at the end, and I will I'll send you the written part about it, and it will explain it all to you perfectly. So we're all having doubts at the moment. Now you need to look at your learning in life as a spiral, and we keep coming around, and sometimes we come around to where we started and we think, holy shit, I'm back in this place again. How can I be back in this place again? But you're not back in the exact same place. It's a spiral, so you're a little bit higher. So you come back and you're up here now instead of down here. So you've gained a little bit more. And we will go around that spiral, all of us humans, for as many times as we need to go around it until we get it. And you can see that in children more easily because they're grappling with it and they learn faster. We grapple with it until we don't grapple with it anymore. We tell the story until we don't need to tell the story anymore. And when the shift comes, it comes like that. And that's what all of our guides are telling us right now about the shift on the planet. That everybody looks stuck, but we all look stuck until 2 seconds before we shift. And it looks, in those 2 seconds before we shift, it looks like we'll never shift. And then we do. And it's the only thing that's predictable about it is that human beings change. What we don't know is when they're going to change, and we don't have control over that. But we can hold the highest expectations possible. We need to see this little blue planet making it. And everything I get, every time I have a sad day or a hopeless day or a day where I feel like I'm lacking faith in our ability to do this, my guides come back in and say, hi, Ruby, that we can do this, that we are doing it, that there is an illusion that things haven't changed as much as they have changed because we haven't had the reports of it yet that are widespread. We get wider spread reports about rioting than we do about the peaceful demonstrations that are going on at the same time. So this is how our world is working right now. We're holding the blueprint for it to be different. I'm reading a book at the moment called Pronoia, which is the antidote to paranoia, and it's reporting all the positive things that are going on the planet right now. So I beg of you to find your ways to stay in that positive space and don't give up hope. If you're feeling like giving up, if you're feeling like I don't want to be here anymore, or this is too much, check in with somebody you know who isn't in that space right now and allow them to share a little of their faith and optimism with you until you get yours back again. So we've got one more question here. I'd like to sneak it in before we complete. This one's from Chantal in Toronto, and she says, a couple of weeks ago, I was in meditation and felt my deceased cat walk across my lap and sit on the couch beside me. So you're obviously, there's a name for this. It's being a psychopump, when you can pick up people or animals that are dead and are in that liminal territory because they haven't completely passed right over, because otherwise they wouldn't be hanging around you. So you've got one hanging around you. I could feel the depression in the couch, it's so powerful when that happens. And she was meowing and purring so loudly that I opened my eyes to check if she was there. Is this a form of mediumship? Yeah, it is sort of. But some people have mediumship where they're tuning in to other entities, and some people have it when they're tuning into somebody who's dead. So you may have both. That remains to be seen. So is it something I can hone? Absolutely, it's something that you can hone. My grandmother was a medium, so you have it. It comes in through your heredity. My grandmother, I think, had it too, although she didn't know what she had. And my mother has it as well. Doesn't use it in the same way as I do, but she has it as well. So it comes down through your lineage as well. She could see those who had passed, and I think you can too. If I can feel spirits that clearly, could I learn to see them that clearly as well? Yes, you can. Yeah. And you may not see them. You may feel them. You may get information from them. Everybody works in a different way. So you'd have to find out, Chantal, exactly how yours works. But the cat is sitting there. So you might want to say to the cat the next time it's there, if you're still asleep, in lucid dreaming, so you can set your intention before you go to sleep that you will be able to interact with your dreams and give yourself some time to practice that. And if you're awake, then you can also just ask. I have lots of conversations I have conversations with spiders. I have conversations with crows outside my door lately because they're right outside here. And I have conversations with entities that I can feel around. In fact, I have them as I'm talking to you. And that's how I get the yes, no. And you can start with yes, no questions. If it's too hard, if you feel like it's too hard for you to hear a whole conversation, then ask questions that will elicit yes, no answers and see how those arrive. But play with it. We want to keep it playful and curious because that's kind of fun. Yeah, and chicken conversations. Yes, I have chicken conversations as well. Flora says, and chickens. Yeah, and have you got crows screaming overhead right now, Robin? That's I'm noticing that they're right outside my door, right outside my French doors right now. And I've never had that. I've lived here for 23 years now, and I've never had that happen before. So they're obviously pulling in around me. There was Coyote in the neighborhood who was the trickster. And I think that was telling us about how this virus is a trickster virus. It's tricking us into letting go of our old behaviors and moving into new behaviors. So very interesting. So that's a wrap for today. For those of you who are interested in what I offer, feel free to stay online, and I will just do a quick run through it. And I told you what I was picking up from my guides earlier, so we have that already. I also have coming up on Get Social Box. I'm going to be doing a reading circle on Tuesday. No, wait a minute. I will post it. I'll post it in the group when the date is coming up, but it's next week. I believe it's Thursday next week. But anyway, I'll put the definite date in. And so if any of you want to join, it's a nominal fee, not very much at all. It's by donation. So feel free to check in on that. And you can go to getsocialbox.com, spelled exactly the way you think it is. And you can check in there, and it will be listed in what's coming up for next week. Martha, yes, if you could do me a favor and just send me a Facebook message saying that you'd like the 2 baskets, 10 tennis balls, and anybody else who would like that, just send me a quick Facebook message and I'll get it out to you sometime this afternoon. Flora says June 11th is when I'm doing the Get Social Box. So thank you, Flora, for being my administrative assistant here. And that's 2 hours long. So you would get longer, and I'll be able to see you, and you'd be able to interact with me more on that one. So I hope you can join me and that you would enjoy that. The recordings of this will go up. I put it up on Facebook and on Instagram and on YouTube, and you can reach the YouTube ones through the link on my website. So, and that's every week. So this was episode 12. Next week, same time, same place, will be episode 13 at 1:30 for half an hour. And you can get your questions to me, same as usual. Get your questions to me by noon, and I will make sure that they're on the list. And if you're in the group on here, and I assume you are since you're listening, then you can invite people to join the group. So ask away. Anybody you think might be interested, invite them to come along and participate. I'm offering ping mini readings, at least for the duration of all this virus stuff. And a ping mini reading is, you can ask 2 questions. You send them to me ahead of time, and that's $30 for 15 minutes. And you can book that on my website and choose your time. Please give me the time you prefer and one backup, because sometimes there's somebody else booking at the same time as you are. I am also offering 60-minute readings, and I've radically altered my rate structure. So I'm open to us using our intuition to figure out what's the best price for you. So if you want to just pay the straight price, that's great. I'll invoice you and you can just pay what I normally charge. And if you're in straitened circumstances at the moment, like many of us are, then just tell me what it is that you'd like to pay me, and that's how much I will invoice you for. And it goes without saying, if you can pay me more, then that's wonderful, because I always appreciate that. And if it's a little bit less, don't feel ashamed. And I'm not going to hold it against you. And if we enter into a discussion about it and you end up not going with it, I'm not going to hold that against you either. So that's, if you want to read more about the philosophy about me changing my rate structure, It's on the bottom of the menu on my website. I did a blog post about it, and that gives you more detail. And I'm finding there's more people doing that out there. Danielle Laporte is doing it right now for all of her electronic offerings. So I'm not the only one. There's a zeitgeist around about this at the moment. So I also offer intuitive coaching, and the exploratory sessions are an hour and a half long, and they're free. No obligation. If we have the conversation and we actually try doing some coaching so you feel what it feels like. If you decide that you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. I won't put any pressure on you. But you can make a better decision if we've had a chat about it. So you can find that on it's all on my website, and you can book through the booking page. I'm trying to start up a Power Circle group, which will be like coaching, except in a group. So you're building community at the same time, and you're learning some group skills around using your intuition in groups of people. And all the details about that are on my website, and I'm happy to have a chat with you about that, so you can book an exploratory about that as well. My year ahead channeled session that I did back just before New Year's, is the recording of it is up on my website. So just leave your email address, and you can have a copy of that to listen to or to download. So I think that's it. That's all I need to share today. And as always, I thank you for being here and being part of the community, because it's close to my heart. I love to do this, and you're allowing me to flex my psychic muscle while we're all shut up at home. In fact, what you're helping me do is stay sane. And I hope I'm helping you to stay sane as well. So I hope that you're enjoying this if you were here with me today. And if you're coming and listening to it afterwards, feel free to leave your comments. I always like to hear how it's landed for you and how helpful it is. And if you have questions for next time, then feel free to leave those. I start taking them as of today. I'll start adding them to the list for next time. So thank you for being here. Until next time, stay safe and invite your friends, because the bigger the community of edge dwellers, the better. Thank you so much.